Hey man, like, hope this helps. It was just like a little talk I wanted to share from my side to your side. Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is your host, Raja Banks from the New York City live streams. Now, people ask me sometimes, how do you manage risk? How do you make sure that your losses are smaller than what you anticipated? Now, here's the thing. We've been doing the same thing since 2019, 2020. Now we're moving in from 2021, we're moving in 2022, right? You have to make some sort of a change, right? Some sort of a change. If you feel like all your losses have been by, holding your losses for a long amount of time, or following signals, taking 4 or 5 signals a day, that's going to be detrimental to you towards your trading progress. So I think the best way to move on and make sure your risk is kept at a minimum is to really focus on lowering down your loss, right? The number one step is very simple. We've talked about it all the time. That's focusing on 1 to 2 trades a day. That's it. Nothing more. Nothing more. 1 to 2 trades a day, and forget about what the next signal is in the group, or what your buddy is doing, or what trade your uncle took, or what trade, one of these influencers took online. Stop worrying about that, right? Your main focus should be on focusing on 1 or 2 trades a day. Now, second thing is to really see how much you're risking at a certain point, right? If let's say you got a $1,000 account, right? If you got a $1,000 account and you're like, hey, I'm gonna risk maybe $100 on a specific trade, which is 10%, it's still a lot, right? So if you're gonna risk $100 on a $1,000 account, at the end of the day, your goal is not to lose $100. Your goal is to lose less than $100, right? What I mean by that is, let's say you start off your trading and you're like, okay, you know what? My risk is, let's say 5% today. And if I take my 2 trades and both of those trades are losing trades, I have to manage risk, and I have to make sure that my net loss from 5% is less than 5%, right? That's the key. You have to manage losses, just like when you let your trades run in profit, your trades run in, let's say 50 pip profit and 100 pip profit or 200 pip profits. What you do is you take profits off the table, right? You take, let's say 50% the first go, 10% the second go, then 10 more the third go, right? You trail your stops, you take profits off the table. You got to do the same thing when you go in drawdown, man. When you go in a drawdown, or when you're going in negative on a position, you have to cut it off. You can't add. What our mindset is, like, when we go in a drawdown, we're constantly adding positions. Like let's say if price is going to go bearish, right? Price goes down, you take a buy, price goes one step further, you take another buy, price goes one step further, you take another buy, and on and on and on. That doesn't work. That's not the right way to do it, right? When you go in a drawdown, identify that, okay, price is going against me. What's the point where I can close 50%? That's it, right? You got a new week coming now, or if let's say you're watching it later on in the future, right? You have to make sure what risk can you take off right now before it hits your stop loss, because it's going to hit your stop either way, right? If it hits your stop, let's say with a full 5% loss, you lost 5%. But if you saw that, okay, certain candles are closing against me, should I take 50% off? Because if you take 50% off at that time and then it hits your stop loss, instead of losing 5%, or instead of losing $100, you may lose $70. You may lose 4%, 4.1%, because at the end of the day, you have managed your risk. Now, something that I've been using for the last year and a half has been this, magic keys, right? Look at the keys. This really allows me to close my positions or to manage my risk on the fly. Amazing tool, right? Link is in the description. You can purchase your magic keys now, but even if you don't want to, you have to manage risk, right? Because a lot of time what's going to happen is that you're going to stay at break even, and now being at a break even stage it's the longest stage you can be in, right? It's very hard to get out of the break even stage, because what happens is if your risk reward is, let's say 1 to 1, or even sometimes guys who have risk reward at 1 to 2, 1 to 3, they even get stuck at break even stage. That's hard because your gains are almost the same as your losses, right? All the time, and you're stuck in break-even stage. Now, the way to get out of that break-even stage is you can't You can't basically increase your losses, right? No, your wins are always going to stay the same. Fear, greed, whatever that it comes in. So your wins are always going to stay the same. They're not going to necessarily increase, other than if it's increasing by, let's say, increase in confidence or increase in more capital, so you're using more risk and using a higher lot size, that's when your wins are going to get bigger. But for the most part, your wins are always going to stay the same. In, let's say, 10 pip bracket, 15 pip bracket, 20, 30 pip bracket, they're always going to stay the same. But your losses are something you can control. Your losses are something that you can say, okay, you know what? I can control my losses. I can control the outcome of my losses. The outcome of your wins are going to stay the same. But if you can control your loss, right? If you can control your loss to say, hey, if I've been losing 5% every trade, or that's a lot. If I've been losing 1 or 2% every trade, I got to make sure I can lose less so I can manage my risk. So if you can manage your risk, your loss is going to be smaller comparatively to your gains, right? So comparatively, your losses are going to get smaller. You've seen me take trades from April. I took a $50,000 account to over $1 million by the end of last year. The whole key was kept the losses smaller. As your losses decrease, your wins, they start to look bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So don't start running after having more wins and bigger wins. Focus on having smaller losses, right? And again, Magic Keys, I highly recommend you or anyone get your hands on Magic Keys. It's a game changer. It's a game changer. You can YouTube Magic Keys, you can Google Magic Keys, you can see a lot of guys have done reviews and instructional videos. So hey man, hope this helps. It was just like a little talk I wanted to share from my side to your side, to your side. All right, take care everyone. Good luck.